हाय एवरीवन, कैसे हैं आप लोग। मैं हूं वत्सल रावल और मेरी चैनल के एक और शानदार धमाकेदार गर्मा गर्म वीडियो में आपका स्वागत है। तो आज हम बात करेंगे मिस्टर ताहा से, जिन्होंने अपना मास्टर्स कंप्लीट किया है कोरियन यूनिवर्सिटी से और अभी वो अपना पीएचडी परस्यू कर रहे हैं मैकगिल यूनिवर्सिटी के, कि जो कनाडा की सबसे बेहतरीन यूनिवर्सिटियों में से एक है। अगर आप इस चैनल पे नए हैं तो इस चैनल को जल्दी से सब्सक्राइब कर दे। इस चैनल पे मैं हर हफ्ते बहुत सारे वीडियोस डालता रहता हूँ जो कि बहुत ही इन्फॉर्मेटिव है। अगर आप कोई भी कंट्री में अपना एजुकेशन करना चाहते हैं तो इस चैनल में आपको सब वीडियो मिल जाएगा। तो चलिए ये शानदार वीडियो को शुरू करते हैं। Hi everyone, today we have Taha with us, and I think he's the best candidate that we can interview for our information regarding Canada. And I think he's a great person that he took his time out of his busy schedule to give us the information. So Taha, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Vatsal. Thank you for this interview and this opportunity. So I'm Taha. I am basically from Pakistan. So I did my bachelor's in 2016 from National University of Science and Technology, Islamabad. Then I went to South Korea and I did my master's from there, again in mechanical engineering from KAIST. Then in 2018, I completed that, and then I applied to McGill University.
अब हम जानेंगे कि उनका एज एन इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट कोरिया में एक्सपीरियंस कैसा रहा। So would you like to focus a little bit more about your education in Korea, like what intrigued you to go into that university, and would you like to explain what that university is about, or is that university particularly focusing more on mechanical engineering, and is there any benefits of going to Korea?
Okay, so yeah, I think for all of the people, like, we know very little about the Far Eastern side, so that's always interesting to know more about like Korea, Japan, and China. And to be honest, like, I had initially, when I was in my bachelor's, I had like no idea about these countries. So what happened that I chose my bachelor's thesis project. So I was working on it, and I found out about KAIST, Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. So from there, I like learned a little bit about their universities, and I was, to be honest, a little bit surprised how good they were and the kind of facilities they have. So I contacted one of the professors, and he accepted me. And the great thing about Korea was that it's fully funded master's scholarship. So like, you don't have to pay any fee. And like, I belong from a middle class family, so that's very important for a person like me. So and most importantly, like, the research facilities, I would say that I have traveled like almost all over the world now. I know different people from different countries. So till now, like, the research facilities that you will find in Korea are really incredible, I would say.
I think that's pretty interesting, and I think this particular interview will open many doors for many students who are like concerned and who has this mindset that the only countries that they can go to is United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. I think there are more opportunities in the world, and I think they will want to explore that, right? How much fees would you say that was waived during your masters, if you have to tell in USD or Canadian dollars?
Okay, so that would be interesting, because when I was in my lab, and one day I was sitting, and one of my lab mate came over, and he asked me that, have you paid any fee? I said, no, I don't pay any fee. And he was a bit surprised. He was Korean, because they have to pay around, I guess, $30,000 US dollars per year, while I didn't have to pay even a single penny, or rather, I was getting a scholarship from university and from my professor. So for any international student, if you like get selected, and that's a really simple process, especially for KAIST, I can speak for that. Like, you don't have to go to some rigorous process of like securing scholarships separately. You just apply, and if they select you, then as an international student you get that scholarship.
तो जैसे कि हमको पता है कि कोरिया इज़ नॉट एन इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग कंट्री, तो मैंने उनसे पूछा कि क्या वहाँ पे कोई लैंग्वेज बैरियर था कि नहीं।
So what happens is that South Korea, like, it's opening its door to the world in this like decade, I would say. Previously, they also don't have much experience with foreigners. So gradually things are getting better, and there are more people who are learning English there. So like the problems in language barrier are getting reduced. I would say there are still barriers. I wouldn't say that there are not, but yeah, in academic environment, it's cool, it's fine, I would say, yeah.
Did you have any other options open at that point? Like, were you applying to any other countries, and did you get admits from any other countries? And if you did, then what were the universities that you got the admits from?
Yeah, I applied as we all do, I applied almost all over the world. So I had opportunities from Technical University of Munich, from Germany, and then I had from the EPFL, Switzerland. So and also I got admission in University of Michigan in US. But my primary reason for selecting McGill was mainly because of the research topic. So it's a topic which I found that only one guy in EPFL was working and a few guys in US are working on that. Like, it's a very new technology, and my professor was like, she was starting her lab, but still I decided to take that risk. And most importantly, like, my wife, she also got admitted to McGill, so we both started together our PhD. So that was also a big reason.
जो क्वेश्चन था वो स्पेसिफिकली फोकस था कि यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में स्कॉलरशिप कैसे मिलता है और कौन कौन से पैरामीटर्स देखे जाते हैं जब आपको स्कॉलरशिप दी जाती है. How does university decide, right, how much scholarship to give any PhD candidate? I know that all PhD candidates are very important for every university. And so what do universities or your particular professor will look for if you are applying to McGill University for your PhD?
Okay, so in any application, I think it's a kind of general standard whenever you apply to top ranked universities. First, they look for the statement of purpose that you have, in which you explain your background and you try to convince the admission committee. And then you need to have some proofs for that, right? So GPA, it becomes important. I'm not asking you to like aim for 4/4 GPA or 100%, but at least it should be respectable, especially if you are applying to these high ranked universities. And then in McGill, there is a different thing overall that you will find in Canadian universities is that it's not the same rule for every department. So it changes from department to department. For example, in case of my wife, she had to submit GRE score as well and IELTS scores as well. However, in my case, it was more of a professor thing. So once you get the approval, then it's done. So like it depends from department to department and changes a little bit. But overall, I would say that if you have any research experience, especially like if you have published something, that's why I said that go to Korea if you don't have that. Yeah, or either do some internships or try to make your and build your profile so that your professor is convinced that you are the ideal candidate, and especially try to target the professor which is like closest to your interests. At least you have done something regarding that, then it would become more easy. So that's like the general guidance I can give.
So guys, we are completing our part 1 here, and part 2 will continue from the next video.
You got me like crazy, and you calling me.